Hey going guys, it's Loligi here and welcome to my Legacy Slayer guide for Aruts. In this guide you'll learn about the requirements you need to kill them, some recommended items and gear setups, where to kill them, how to kill them, and the sort of items you should expect to be picking up. With this sort of combat setup you can expect to get around 90k experience an hour max if you're not banking anything. If you are banking items you should expect to see lower rates, and the same goes for different sorts of gear. Here's an example of some gear and inventory setups you'll want to take to the Aruts. This is a sort of unique method in the Slayer task because normally you would kill this monster on EOC with disables to stop their special attacks, but in Legacy you can't do that, you sort of just have to brute force them. So for that in mind you need some high strength tier gear and some pretty high weaponry. In this picture I'm using bandos. You can use Torva if you want, but for Slayer I don't really see much of a point specifically of these monsters. You want something along the lines of Chaotix or Drygors or higher. You want some steadfast boots, some pneumatic gloves or something similar to that, and Saruman's Whisperer, and your Slayer helmet. So once again you want high strength tier gear. In your inventory you want some extremes or supers or overloads. You want a spec weapon, Aegis are good for this. A lot of prayer pots because ideally you want to be either having turmoil or piety or something equivalent to that. Your charm imp, your ferocious ring, and you do want a beast of burden that is either full of shark or something similar to that, or a healing familiar, because in this method it's quite heal intensive because you can't stop the special attack. So the most popular spot for slaying Aruts on a Slayer task is Cyrodiil's dungeon. On the map here you can see where they're located and the direction you need to take to get there. If you don't have access to Cyrodiil's Slayer dungeon, which I would assume most people would if they're on task, you can also kill them in the Piscatorius colony, which is to the north of Adounged on the map. So once you've got to where you want to be, you want to pot up, chuck some turmoil on and some soul split. If you don't have that, it's just how it is, but preferably you want to use some sort of strength boosting prayer, because the method to these guys is a lot different to what it is in EOC. These monsters have a special attack where they bash their chest and hit you repeatedly for a high amount of damage. In EOC you could stop that with a couple moves, but in Legacy you can't. You sort of just have to battle through it. It doesn't hit as hard as you'd think it does, but it can knock you around a fair bit if you're not prepared for it. I myself have never fallen below half health with soul split and eating shark off the ground, but just be wary that it can hit high and it can hit hard. So what you have to do here, as I said earlier in the video, is pot up, put your prayers on and just hit them, and then just brute force their special attack. You won't find that you'll get in that much trouble. You fill your booster burden up with some food. I used Rocktail, I didn't even need that many. You can also survive off the shark they drop them at a high rate, and you just eat when you're low and when you think you're taking too much damage. I found a beast of burden full of food can get me through a task, no worries. It has never been an issue. So with that being said, the sort of items you want to start to pick up off these guys are their bones. Some people who don't have access to a yak might have to do multiple trips if they're that concerned about the bones. If you're not, I suggest you just wear a demon horn necklace and use the prayer bonus with a bone crusher anyway, and just ignore that. You want to be picking up rune plate legs, rune plate bodies. They drop some high valued herbs, rune bars, ceramic scales, and items similar to that. The magic logs and all that other stuff they drop do stack up. So if you're doing the Slayer task for money, it's a good place to start. Aruts aren't the best experience. They sit around 90k an hour. There's tasks that are a lot higher, but the actual value you get off these guys is second to none. They're a consistent money source, and I highly recommend you do the task. So that being said, guys, that's the end of the guide. If you liked what you've seen and you think it was helpful, please subscribe, please like. I'll be making more guides in the future. Hopefully I'll be busting a guide out for all the major slaying monsters on task, and eventually we'll do some other sort of web series. So thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you have a good day.